watching Gntv. It's Gntv News at 12. I am Muton Gloria. Let's take a look at the headlines.
In our today's top stories, the government of Uganda is likely to lose 200 billion shillings over the ISSP machine in Kasese. Residents in Chikonzo Cell in Kasese district cry over the mismanagement of garbage in their area.
Obulwadde bwonna tebusobola kubulamu bana balijja mu macupa baleta amacupa ne bayiwamu tebeesobole tebakasosola kubuulira.
Court in Mozambique has sentenced a son of former president 12 years in prison. In sports, Eden Hazard retires from national football.
To lose over 200 million shillings invested in an ISSP machine that was donated to the ex-combatants in Renzo region to boost their living standards. Our news reporter has more details.
The government of Uganda is likely to lose over 200 million shillings invested in an ISSP machine that was donated to the ex-combatants in Renzo region to boost their living standards. According to Muganaha, the lack of failure to be facilitated has hindered their performance, seeking government's intervention so that they can bear out of poverty by applying their different acquired skills to improve their living standards.
Ekyoma kiri ha polisi, ekyoma kyamara omwaka gumu nekichweka. Ekyoma kiriyo ntizo to be spoiled, kyamara omwaka gumu, bamazira kutuyitaka kukoleraho, kandi nituenda tusaba ekyoma government oburalizi money tujja kukora emirimu tumazira kusoma.
Mr. Ronald Sekatawa, the Amnesty Commission Renzo Region Coordinator, says that they are worried that the machine might wear out even before its usage.
The issue of the machine, the ISSB machine, it is still funny because so far it has been at police under safe custody close to 9 months. We have been waiting for money to carry out the last phase of training on the TOTs. Those are the trainers of trainers. But as we talk now, we haven't received the fund to carry out the final and the commissioning of the machine.
Thomas Chisembo, the commissioner at the Amnesty Commission Uganda, acknowledged receiving the hydraulic machine that makes interlocking blocks to help the ex-combatants and the communities that host them improve their entrepreneurship skills. The commissioner says that he has wrote to the Minister Kahinda Otafire to expedite means of getting money to run the machines, adding that they are pleased with the organization amongst the beneficiaries, urging that they are not seated.
Recently I wrote to Honorable General Otafire, who is our minister, to look into it, to expedite the way of getting the money, how these machines can be run. We have one machine already in Kasese and we want to launch it. Happily enough, I know very well that people are organized, they have to be patient. We are not seated. Even when I go back to Kampala, I'll have to see the minister and we see what we can do.
Aineshira for Gntv in Kasese.
Well, in other news, yesterday, Feel for Africa Rights Alliance, Climate Change Institute and Koinawa Waste Management Services at the waste station in Chikonzo Cell, Kasese Municipality after the call of people staying around the garbage station having faced a problem of bad smell and the way the council garbage cars move around throwing garbage anyhow, that may result to uncountable diseases. You have more details there.
Feel of Africa Rights Alliance, Climate Change Institute and Koinawa Waste Management Services yesterday organized the waste management press address at the waste station in Chikonzo Cell, Kasese Municipality, after the call of people staying around the garbage stations having faced many problems like bad smell and the way council garbage cars throw garbages anyhow, which may result in uncontrollable diseases. Residents say they get a lot of problems from the waste, whereby the place is not well fenced and animals from the national park coming to get what to eat end up entering their homes.
Bulwadde bwonna tebusobola kubulamu. Bana balijja mu macupa, baleta amacupa ne bayiwamu tebeesobole. Tebakasosola buwulidde. Oba omuntu aveeyo bulina obulofu mu madwaliro byonna babiyiwa wano.
Rukumbuka Robert, the director of Feel for Africa Rights Alliance organization, operated in Kampala, calls upon all the plastic producers to interfere on the campaign such that the environment is preserved.
Arubaju rw'amateeka Uganda ina amateeka marungi. Tuina amateeka ga environment. Tuina amateeka climate change. Even international statutes and agreements Uganda ka signing on these instruments. So necho kushwazana kushanga ngo munya Uganda takumanga ari hiteka. Ngwana gakachipa tubakukwata. Ngwakwata kasasiro kajana go muhanda tokukwata. Ntwenda kumanyisa abantu mwena ngo amateeka garu. Kuberega begaho nami hati tujagiye musya. Kushomesa abanyayuganda ngo amateeka garu. Kandi na local governments is thin bylaws concerning this. Obwire bwahika bokora bylaws ba councillors na councils za districts na namagombora muimusie bylaws up to LC1 buri chweka kigere bylaw erikwatare kasasiro abantu babone kutura ombuteka kandi ararhen bamutoro mukoti environmental laws ziruho harutu initu kweta environmental police nema eruho aba national forest baruho wildlife baruho. All these are statutes in place. These authorities zinamateka warehenda bakufara mukote shemerire bakuvunane bakufaininge ninga bakusibe then esebone kuterekera takabahoga gapuso mu mateka ga Uganda nyonko munyamateka mutendeke ekini nyenda kumanyisa abanyayuganda ntsakwashomesa tsakuza TV na radio no makanisa no muziki no mashomero no mbutari ayitora kushanje no makaganya kurango gwo muranga tugwayemero mu Uganda eji campaign ya World Without Waste ne revolution yo tokwasa kwemereza because ne kwatari nyowe ahariwe ahari president ahari pastor ahari bishop na archbishop na imam buri yomwe aharevoyi tarkwenda.
Zawede Caroline, who is the managing director of Caroline Investments, appreciates people including street kids who are fighting pollution through earning their survival. She says one of their reasons as a project is to empower women and change people's perception.
Well, I've always tried to provide safety gadgets. I also try to engage partners for support in other areas so that they are really covered in a way that can be safe for them. I also have good intentions to apply for an insurance cover to cover those who are handling waste at national level. I'm engaging insurance partners to develop a policy that can protect those who are handling waste.
Whereas Bwambare Joshua, the field coordinator of Agri-Evolve Uganda Limited, says their target is to empower the community's majority and the women through the products from the waste and trainings such that they can get knowledge on how to maintain their environment.
Akolanga field coordinator kande owebi obutale omachitongole cha Agri-Evolve Uganda Limited Company namasane team eye chitongole chatukahulamu a world without waste revolution tuliokwamo hewo owera hegeta akasasero akakabola nakatabola neryo sahanu itwenge chitongole cha Agri-Evolve twamabiri unzo butuku etunamu hegeta akasasero omwamiyi amahika.
Aineshila for Gntv in Kasese.
Chinese reporter. Yesterday, Uganda Parliamentary Women Association (WOPA) held a high-level dialogue meeting on gender-based violence at the Parliamentary Conference Hall, which was led by the Deputy Speaker Taewa Thomas. We have more details about that.
Percent of the respondents had experienced physical or sexual violence by both partners or non-partners since the age of 15 years. Lifetime prevalence of intimate partner sexual violence was at 36%, whereas physical violence among ever partnered women was 45%. The survey has revealed that 47% of the women face economic violence. Let me first stop there. Recently, a woman came to my office, very interesting, with 3 children. And she told me, do you know, I got married to a man here in Kampala. The way you see me, I don't have any home. Someone just raised me, and she did not tell me where she picked me from. And the last thing she told me, I am dying, I have left you with so and so. So this person, they left her so and so, she even didn't know the person, but left her on the phone on her deathbed. She falls in love with a young man here in Kampala. They make their money. After making their money, the man one day wakes up and carries all the capital and disappears. And the woman didn't know even where the man was coming from. You know these relationships of Kampala. And left with the woman with 3 children. She had nowhere to run to. The first place to run to was police. Police tried to do what it would do, look for the man. The woman said, the man told me he comes from northern Uganda, from this and this village. They went there, they couldn't trace. This woman is feeding on food that is brought to the prisoners and the police of Chitinda. So when they bring food for the prisoners, there is a container to look after these children, and the mother, it was very touching. So when we talk about economic violence, I always see what is happening. I say, where are the women? Where are those women who used to talk for the women? Who is there to support these women? Just recently, we were in Luzira. The Right Honorable Prime Minister has taken me there to go and remove all the children who had stayed in Luzira for more than 18 months. So we had an opportunity of sharing with the women to know exactly what are these women doing in prison, because there are more than 600 women in Luzira alone. And we shared. Most of those women are there because of gender-based violence. At times you're tired, the man is beating you every day, accidentally you hit and the man does what? He dies. So you end up in Luzira. Climate change, the one I was telling you about.
And anytime we shall be giving you space on the order paper, at work on this. Some of us supported it last time in the 10th. Teenage pregnancy has also reached epidemic proportions, which has devastating impacts on health, well-being, education aspirations, livelihood, and future socio-economic productivity of girls, and can reverse generations of work towards gender equality and women's empowerment. This continues to have direct financial implications on the government's budget expenses and is a key constraint to harnessing the demographic dividend. I commit, and on behalf of this institutional parliament, to ensuring that issues of gender-based violence, maternal health, and sexual reproductive health rights and services are incorporated in the 2023-2024 national budget, which we shall be handling with colleagues.
Well, thank you so much. Now, today's international news. A court in Mozambique has sentenced 2 former intelligence chiefs and the son of former Mozambican president to 12 years in prison in a massive corruption scandal known as the Hidden Debt. The case, which involves $12 billion in secret loans from foreign banks to Mozambican state-owned companies, had plunged the country into a serious financial crisis. We have more details about that.
A court in Mozambique has sentenced 2 former intelligence chiefs and the son of the former Mozambican president to 12 years in prison in a massive corruption scandal known as the Hidden Debt. The former head of intelligence and the state security, Gregoria Riau, and the former head of economic intelligence, Antonio do Rosario, along with Armando Dambi Guembuza, son of the former president Armando Guembuza, were sentenced by a special court in the capital Maputo. The case, which involves $2 billion in secret loans from the foreign banks to Mozambican state-owned companies, had plunged the country into a serious financial crisis. The case relates the debt contracted by the government in 2013 and 2014 without parliament approval that prompted the MIF to intervene, triggering a sovereign debt collapse in 2016. According to presiding judge Efigênio Baptista, proceedings with the legal accumulation of the sentence and the the material accumulation of the fine in accordance with the provisions of Articles 102, subparagraph 1 and 97, both of the Penal Code of 1986. The accused Amando Ndambi Gwembuza is sentenced to a single sentence of 12 years of major prison, 12 years in prison and a fine of 102,000 metias. Former Finance Minister Maguire Chang, who signed off the loans, has been held in South Africa since 2018, pending extradition to the US for allegedly using the US financial system to carry out the fraudulent scheme. Za Asimwe, Gntv at 12.
Well, in Chad, the Secretary of Bar Association in Chad announced lawyers would appeal the prosecution of the October 20th this year demonstrators. Last Monday, a court sentenced 262 people out of 401 arrested for deadly protests in October. We have more details.
The Secretary of Bar Association in Chad announced lawyers would appeal the prosecution of the October 20th this year demonstrators. Last Monday, a court sentenced 262 people out of 401 arrested followed deadly protests in October. They were deported and now they have been convicted and some have been released, so they say. But that does not mean that the procedure was followed. What we were criticizing as human rights defenders as the bar is the procedure that has been biased, its proudry of justice. So the lawyers are going to have to appeal to get justice. I hope the appeal judges will follow the law. Around 50 people, including 10 members of the security forces, died when police opened fire on the demonstrators in the capital, Dajman, and the several other cities on the October 20th this. Opposition groups denounced the official numbers and said the real count was much higher, alleging unarmed civilians were masqueraded. Opposition groups denounced the official numbers and said the real count was much higher, alleging unarmed civilians were masqueraded. The protests have been called to mark the date when Chad's ruling military had initially promised to cede power, a timeline that has now been extended by 2 years. Strongman General Hamal Driss Digby Iton accused the demonstration for insurrection and attempting to stage a coup. Nawe Priva. For GNTV at 12.
As in other news, residents of DRC's war-torn East are struggling to earn a living after being displaced. We have more details on that.
After the shock of exile comes the pride of displacement for the residents of the Democratic Republic of Congo's war-torn East. Bahat Mbashumbage was driven out of his home by the violent clashes between the Congolese forces and the M23 rebels. The 62-year-old man managed to salvage his sewing machine in the hope to use it to make a living where he could find refuge. In the Kanyarchinya camp, where he now stays, he has improvised a workshop. The hillside area of Kanyarchinya that overlooks Goma is now thronged with the displaced people and served rows of tents. At the entrance of the camp, the cows of Batale Kibombo Joseph are grazing. The 60-year-old only wishes for peace to prevail as diplomatic efforts towards de-escalation to continue. As he waits for the breakthrough, he does his best to stay alive. Thousands of people displaced by the war are trying to make a living in the town located north to the provincial capital Goma. They operate small businesses or raise and sell the cattle they fled with. The M23 rebels, whom Kinshasa accuses Kigali of backing, have been occupying localities in Rutshuru territory for months, worsening a humanitarian crisis. Fighting in the province displaced about 370,000 people by November 28th, according to the International Organization for Migration. Despite aid efforts, many displaced people complained of hunger, cholera, a sequence for poor hygiene. It has also broken out. Za Asimwe, GNTV News at 12.
Well, thank you so much, Diza Asimwe, our news reporter. Let's take a short commercial break. We're coming back with more details.
This is Gntv, releasing life.
kugambirwa kana magara ngakira magana
hariho abandi abinanye ndagambaho mushaho abakoza ekitweta traditional eye medicine ebishaka very dangerous
program manyamagara gahunda kusyaho abashaho abakugu
HPV vaccine ekingira kanseri n'amandinda 90%.
bakushomesa ebintu bitari bimwe na bimwe ebigwakubasa gukora kugira ngo uture amagara marungi.
It is very important tujahirwaro omanyamagara gawe exposure tukenezo mbazi nazo ne ARVs osmira for 1 month abo kubaka kongo akaka virus kakatakairo museri y'omuntu tokafuna kakataire mu wafuna HIV.
Ebyona ntubikora okufutaho empira hinduka omuka yawe n'omuhereza wawe twishe Nicholas aha GNTV.
Chinayu chinyumira whether it is Katogo, Chikomando, Rolex Majasa to Nyanya Mbisi. Man, wherever I am, I enjoy Chinayu with your TV channels on my phone.
Nyumiro omurembo omupya ogujjudde ebisanyusa omuli emikutu gya TV egisukka mu 8 n'egya radio nga kwotadde ne zifirimu ng'osinziirira wonna w'oli. Genda mu App Store oteeke app ya TV channels ku simu yo olwo nyumiro ennaku 3 ng'olabira bwereere ewatali kozesa data.
TV channels.
Omuzire wena kwendeza omwana eby'obwegese birungi namutwara mu Midland Parents Secondary School kole bine na scripture union yamani abana babone bakora kurungi munonga kandi neri aboje nabishi boarding yonka okutwara omwana mu Midland tokwetenga bya katolize nkayinguni shopping nibakwereza bitabo uniforms obuchomo sabuni yo kuna bamwe no kozi amajuta go kwesiga nombazi gwa mino ogisire wono gwe kito na sanitary pads zabwa bishi nibahereza bikopana n'amasahani nibahereza n'entambura yabusha hari ababakuza Kampala n'omwana wa watungo bushanja byubwabusha ebishare byabo nibirungi munonga
zine mitwaro 89 zonka kuruga sine yo kubanza mpaka sine ya mukazi
ogita emitwaro 5 ya admission fee echawe kiba cyaterera bakwegurire office ali ekira building amwarara gwa kabiri ninga kwenda kumanya bukicira
era noti mushanju shanju na 8 noti 2 na noti mushanju 5 emwisha 5 noti 25
asira mushanju 5 kinana na mwenda 25 35 ninga yasira mushanju 8 38 nkaga ni 5 ikumi na mushanju.
This is GNTV, releasing life.
From that break, now today's sports news. Eden Michael Hazard has retired from the international football after his national team was eliminated from the group stages in the 2022 Qatar World Cup season. Eden Hazard has played 126 games for the national team, scoring just 33 goals between 2008 and 2022. We have more details on that.
Eden Hazard has announced he has retired from international football after Belgium's premature exit from the World Cup in Qatar. The decision comes after his nation was eliminated from the group following the 0-0 draw with Croatia on match day 3. Hazard featured in all 3 group games but failed to score as Belgium finished 3rd in Group F behind Morocco and Croatia, of which these 2 have gone on to qualify for quarterfinals in the competition. Hazard confirmed his retirement in a message to his followers on Instagram. Eden's announcements put an end to an international career that totaled 126 games between 2008 and 2022, a period in which he registered 33 goals. The 31-year-old retirement marks the beginning of the end for the Belgium's so-called golden generation, as manager Roberto Martinez announced he would be leaving his post immediately after the group stage exit. Retiring from international football at just 31 years of age will allow Hazard to focus on matters at the club level, with the Belgian failing to amass more than 6 goals contribution a season, 4 goals, 2 assists in 2020-2021 since his move to Real Madrid from Chelsea back in 2019. Za Asimwe, GNTV Sports at 12.
Thank you so much, Desire Simwe, our news reporter. Well, let's take a look at Tani's headlines again.
In our today's top stories, the government of Uganda is likely to lose 200 billion shillings over the ISSP machine in Kasese.
Ekyoma kiri ha polisi, ekyoma kyamara omwaka gumu ne kichweka.
Residents in Chikonzo Cell in Kasese district cry over the mismanagement of garbage in the area.
Oba kasa obulwadde bwonna tebusobola kubulamu abaana balijja mu macupa baleeta amacupa ne bayiwamu tebeesobolere tebakasosola buwulidde.
Court in Mozambique has sentenced a son of former president 12 years in prison. In sports, Eden Hazard retires from national football.
So much, our viewers. Thank you for watching News at 12. That's all we had for you. I remain Muton Gloria. Catch you tomorrow at the same time.